The night was unnaturally silent across the Mojave Desert, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Above, stars wove a vivid tapestry against the inky sky. Jack Harlow, a young aerospace engineer with a wild mop of brown hair and a knack for late-night tinkering, was buried deep in his workshop. Around him lay scattered blueprints, half-assembled drones, and a sense of quiet excitement as he poured his energy into his latest invention, a solar-powered glider. But that quiet was suddenly torn apart by a deafening roar and a blazing streak across the sky. At first, Jack thought it was a meteor, but something about its controlled trajectory was different, almost deliberate. His curiosity overpowered caution, and within moments, he was out the door, throwing on his jacket and grabbing the keys to his old, dependable pickup truck. Transition into the journey. The drive toward the crash site pulsed with tension. Jack's heart raced, a mixture of fear and thrill in every beat. The cool desert air was thick with the scent of scorched earth, and the horizon glowed with an otherworldly light. When he arrived, the scene could only be described as surreal: a smoking crater, glowing embers, and in the center, a spacecraft of alien design, completely unlike anything known to Earth. As Jack cautiously approached, the engineer in him grappled with something new, a rescuer's urgency. In the wreckage, amid twisted metal and strange flickering lights, he saw her, an alien girl, unconscious. Her skin shimmered in the light, and her hair flowed like liquid silver. Instinctively, Jack acted, gently lifting her into his truck, his mind reeling as he drove her back to his workshop. Transition to first encounter and building suspense. In the dim, cluttered room, Jack made a makeshift bed for her, moving with practiced precision as he cleaned her wounds. Her skin seemed to respond to his touch, closing tiny cuts before his eyes, emitting a faint glow that filled the workshop. Exhausted and bewildered, Jack sat back, watching over her, questions racing through his mind. Who was she? Why was she here? And what would happen when she woke up? As dawn crept into the room, Jack drifted off, only to be jolted awake by soft movement. Blinking, he saw her sitting up, eyes wide with both fear and curiosity, scanning her unfamiliar surroundings before her gaze settled on him. Jack spoke softly, his words a gentle reassurance. "It's okay, you're safe here." Transition to understanding and discovery. Her melodic voice, each word tinged with an almost musical quality, took him by surprise. She introduced herself as Aurora, her voice steady yet carrying an unearthly grace. As they spoke, Jack learned of her origin, Xylar, a planet light-years away. Her journey was not one of exploration but escape, a desperate flight from a devastating conflict that had brought her to Earth. In return, she marveled at the tools and projects scattered around his workshop, curious about Earth's simpler, rougher technology. Building their connection. Over the following days, a bond began to form, built on mutual curiosity and trust. Jack's workshop transformed, cluttered blueprints and drones replaced by whiteboards, diagrams, and scraps of alien technology. Aurora shared her knowledge, demonstrating advanced technology from her ship, while Jack introduced her to Earth's basics, teaching her words and ideas to bridge the gap between their worlds. One evening, as the desert sky faded into night, Aurora tentatively reached out, asking if she might share something more. With his consent, she placed her fingertips against his temples, and suddenly Jack was flooded with vivid images, colors, and sensations that defied human understanding. It was beautiful, an intimate glimpse into a world so different, yet filled with feelings he recognized. "It's how we share our true selves," Aurora explained, a soft smile on her lips. Routine and peaceful moments. Their days settled into a rhythm. Mornings were spent exploring each other's languages and cultures. In the afternoons, they tinkered with what remained of her ship's tech, salvaging parts and merging them with Jack's creations. Aurora's tales of Xylar captivated him, and he found himself yearning to understand her world and her people. Sudden disruption and cliffhanger. But peace was fleeting. One crisp morning, the sound of approaching vehicles shattered their routine. Jack's heart sank as he peered out a dusty window, his gaze landing on a convoy of black SUVs kicking up clouds of desert sand, heading straight for them. "They found us," he muttered, the weight of the moment settling heavily. Aurora sensed his distress, her eyes widening in alarm. "Who are they?" she whispered, voice edged with fear. "Government," he replied grimly, grabbing a backpack and tossing in supplies. "They monitor anything that enters Earth's atmosphere. We need to go now." The faint hum of approaching engines shattered the silence around Jack's workshop. He and Aurora exchanged a glance, both sensing the urgency. Quickly, Aurora grabbed a few small pieces of her technology that could aid them on the run. Together, they slipped out the back just as the black SUVs pulled up in front. Using the rocky desert terrain to their advantage, Jack led her to an old Jeep he'd hidden under a tarp for emergencies. The engine roared to life, and soon they were bouncing across the rough landscape, putting distance between themselves and the workshop as the lights from the SUVs faded behind them. Introducing the cloaking device. As they navigated through the rugged paths of the Mojave, Aurora pulled out a small disc-shaped device she had saved from the wreckage. "It's a cloaking device," she explained, pressing it against the Jeep's dash. A shimmer of distortion surrounded the vehicle, bending light and rendering them nearly invisible to any onlookers. 4 hours, they drove deeper into the desert, avoiding main roads and steering clear of any signs of life. Eventually, they stopped in a secluded canyon, surrounded by towering red rocks that cast long shadows as the sun began to set, painting the sky in strokes of orange and purple. Exhausted, they set up a small, temporary camp, hoping the rocky outcrops would shield them from any prying eyes. Building suspense and revealing their next move. Under the stars that night, the gravity of their situation began to sink in. "We can't keep running forever," Jack murmured, his voice low. "They'll keep coming for us." Aurora nodded, her gaze reflecting the glow of the campfire. "Perhaps, if we could communicate with them, explain why I'm here. I believe not all humans would see me as a threat." She sounded hopeful, though uncertainty lingered in her voice. Jack considered her words, the engineer in him already analyzing scenarios, crafting solutions. "Maybe," he agreed, "but for now, we need to stay hidden until we find a way to approach them safely." They spent the rest of the night making plans, their bond growing stronger, a mutual respect forming between two souls from different worlds, each now relying on the other for survival. Finding refuge in the abandoned mine. Several days later, after constant evasion, Jack led Aurora to an old, abandoned mine he remembered from his explorations. Nestled in the folds of the rugged desert terrain, the mine was hidden, with a network of tunnels providing shelter and potential escape routes. Its cool, damp air offered a stark contrast to the relentless desert heat outside. They set up a secure camp near the entrance while Aurora explored deeper into the cavern, her curiosity piqued by the mineral-streaked rock and decades-old engineering supports. For now, they were safe, but their mission was clear: repair Aurora's communicator and attempt contact with her people. Building their bond through technology and culture. Despite limited resources, Aurora worked tirelessly to repair her damaged communicator, salvaging electronic parts from Jack's truck and remnants from her ship. Jack marveled at her ingenuity. She could repurpose even the simplest human electronics into something extraordinary. Days blended into nights as they labored, Jack eagerly learning about alien technology far more advanced than anything on Earth. In between repairs, they shared stories. Aurora spoke of Xyler's vast libraries, knowledge stored in neural connections that allowed each Xylian to be both a student and teacher. Jack, in turn, shared stories of Earth's history, its diversity, and his own dream to one day see humanity reach the stars. Each exchange brought them closer, the barriers between their worlds gradually fading. A heartfelt moment under the stars. One evening, as they took a break from repairs, Jack noticed Aurora's thoughtful expression. "What's on your mind?" he asked, his voice gentle. She sighed, her gaze fixed on the flickering lantern light. "I'm thinking of home, of how I was taught to fear and distrust other species. But being here, working together with you, it's shown me how wrong those teachings were." Jack nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "Fear of the unknown is universal," he said. "But so is curiosity and the potential for friendship. Maybe we're not so different after all." A glimmer of hope. Finally, after days of tireless work, the communicator buzzed to life, its lights blinking in hopeful rhythm. Aurora's face lit up as she sent a signal, a call for help to her people. Now, all they could do was wait, hope, and prepare for what the future might hold, not only for them but also for the possibility of bridging the gap between Earth and Xyler. Under the night sky, they found solace in the stars, each contemplating the fragile yet resilient bond they'd forged. Final cliffhanger: discovery and tension. Their hopeful waiting was cut short. Late one evening, as Jack returned from a perimeter check, he spotted vehicles slowly advancing toward the mine. His heart dropped. The government agents had found them. Rushing back, he warned Aurora. "They're here. We need to move." She nodded, calm but resolute, fingers deftly tapping the communicator for one last message. As agents surrounded the mine entrance, Jack glanced at Aurora, determination etched on his face. "I'll talk to them. Maybe we can resolve this peacefully." Before Aurora could protest, Jack stepped into the open, hands raised. "Listen," he began, voice steady despite the fear swirling inside him, "we don't want trouble." Standing under the vast desert sky, Jack raised his voice, steady yet edged with urgency. "She's not a threat. Aurora's here by accident, and we've been trying to contact her people to help her return." The lead agent's expression remained unreadable as she eyed him with skepticism. "That's not for you to decide, Mr. Harlow," she said coldly. "An alien presence is a national concern." But before she could continue, a faint, otherworldly hum filled the air. Lights appeared in the sky, growing closer, moving swiftly. The agents turned, momentarily stunned, as an alien craft descended, its sleek silhouette shimmering against the starlit sky. Aurora's people had arrived. Seizing the moment, Aurora stepped forward beside Jack, addressing the agent directly. "I'll go peacefully," she said, her voice calm yet firm, "but let him go. He's done nothing wrong." A tense pause followed, but finally, the agent lowered her weapon and ordered her team to stand down. As the alien ship landed, its doors opened, revealing several figures in elaborate attire, their technology and presence like nothing Earth had ever seen. The lead alien, a Zillion diplomat, stepped forward, speaking in perfect English. "We thank you for assisting Aurora," he intoned, nodding at Jack. "We apologize for any disruption our presence may have caused. With your permission, we will take our citizen and leave peacefully." The agents, clearly aware of the delicate diplomatic implications, agreed. Jack and Aurora shared one last, lingering look. The farewell. "Thank you for everything," Aurora murmured, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'll never forget this." "I should be thanking you," Jack replied, his voice thick with emotion. "You opened my eyes to a universe I never dreamed was real." They embraced, a final, silent farewell that spoke of the friendship they'd forged across worlds. With a last bittersweet smile, Aurora turned and walked toward her people, her silhouette framed by the glowing lights of the spacecraft. Jack watched, heart heavy, as the ship ascended, its lights vanishing into the vast, starlit sky, leaving him alone in the quiet desert, forever changed. A surprise communication. The silence of the desert settled around him, profound and final. Yet, as Jack turned to leave, a soft beep emitted from his pocket. Startled, he pulled out a small device Aurora had slipped to him during their farewell. The screen flickered to life, and Aurora's face appeared, her expression serene and joyful even across the distance. "Jack," she began, her voice clear despite the cosmic miles between them, "I couldn't leave without giving you a choice. My people are grateful for your bravery and kindness. They've extended an invitation. You're welcome to join us, to see Xyler and explore our galaxy." For a moment, Jack was speechless, his mind racing with the possibilities. Interstellar travel, alien worlds, technologies he could only dream of. Yet, part of him looked back to Earth, to the life he'd built in the desert, the workshop with its half-finished projects and the familiar stars of home. After a pause, he smiled up at the screen. "Aurora, give me some time to settle things here, but, yes, I'd like that. I'll come." Aurora's face brightened, her smile radiant. "We'll wait for you," she assured him. "This device will keep us connected until you're ready." "Safe travels, Jack." The screen went dark, and he pocketed the device, a new sense of purpose coursing through him. There were preparations to make, goodbyes to say, and a journey to plan, a journey that would take him further than he'd ever dared to dream. The final departure. In the following weeks, Jack meticulously prepared. He arranged for a close friend to care for his workshop, tied up loose ends, and studied the information Aurora had sent about Xyler, familiarizing himself with its customs and alien landscapes. Quietly, he spent time with family and friends, hinting at big changes but keeping the extraordinary details to himself. Finally, the day arrived. As the sun set, casting the desert in hues of fiery red and gold, Jack stood at a remote location, the communication device in hand. The familiar hum of an approaching spacecraft filled the air, and moments later, the Zillion vessel descended, its technology ensuring a seamless and safe journey. As Earth faded behind him, a blue-green gem against the vastness of space, Jack felt a bittersweet pang. But excitement soon overtook him, the thrill of a new chapter. He was no longer just an engineer tinkering in a desert workshop. He was an explorer, a bridge between worlds, ready to uncover the mysteries of Xyler and beyond. Filled with hope and anticipation, he looked ahead to the stars, to the adventures awaiting him, and to the stories he'd someday return to share of an alien world and the friendship that had changed his life forever.